All right, we're gonna start in child's pose. So from a tabletop position, you're gonna bring your knees together, or your knees apart, big toes together. And let the head come down to the floor. Arms can just begin to relax. And give yourself a few moments just to create space for yourself. So you finally made it here. We made it to our practice. And then begin to just feel the body growing heavy, supported by the floor, which in turn is supported by the earth. Allow yourself to take a few deep breaths, acknowledging all that might arrive on the mat with you today. There's a principle in yoga philosophy called Ishvara pranidhana, translating to surrender. It's about letting go of ego and control, allowing us to surrender. We can find a deeper connection to the universe. It challenges us to open us up and observe our obstacles as opposed to forcing it, suppressing it, or even just suffering through it. We begin to come to a place of personal growth. With non-attachment, we can let go of these outcomes, let go of fears, desires. And as we surrender, we can make space for the present moment. Wayne Dyer says, by surrendering, you can create an energy field of receptivity for the solution to appear. As we let go and allow our breath to find some ease here, how can you imagine being more receptive to the moment? Letting the thoughts that might pop into your head just soften and float on by. So I invite you, as we move through this class, as we move through these poses today, to find a way to relinquish control or too much effort, abandoning ideas of how a pose should look and really just tap into how it feels. If there's any other intentions you would like to set for your class today, feel free to set that now. We'll take a few more breaths here. Let's begin to create a little more action in this pose by spreading wide through the fingers, pressing down through the palms, and really stretching the hands towards the top of the mat so the elbows lift off the floor. Make sure that the hands are shoulder width apart or maybe even a little wider to find some ease in the upper body. And begin to deepen the breath into the low belly. Feeling like the ribs can even expand towards the thighs. Take one more breath here. And then we're going to slowly begin to lift the head. And we're going to take a twisted child's pose. So take your right hand, flip the palm up and stretch it underneath the left armpit, bringing the hand or the arm as close to your knee as possible and reaching all the way to the left so your right shoulder and right side of the face come down to the ground. Make sure you're not leaning too much to the left heel, that you keep pulling the weight back towards the right heel with that right hip. Take a few deep breaths as we begin to stretch out through the thoracic spine and through the posterior shoulder capsules. Imagine you could breathe in between the space of the shoulder blades. One more deep breath here. And let it go. Slowly begin to unwind, reach that right arm back out. And exhale, left hand reaches underneath that right armpit. Remember, palm is up, left shoulder, left side of the face comes down to the mat. Left hip is heavy towards left heel. And imagine lifting that breath into the upper torso. One more breath, nice and deep. And let it go. Inhale, unwind, bring that left hand back out. And then we'll slowly, gently just lift ourselves to a tabletop pose. Hands underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Make sure the feet are going directly behind the knees. And from here, we're gonna walk the hands out. The upper body comes down to the floor for puppy dog pose. Keep the hips over the knees, tailbone stretches to the sky. The head might even rest on the floor. So you're beginning to open up the front of the shoulders now. So allow yourself to feel like the body sinking into the floor, but the elbows stay lifted. Now, of course, if you're working with a shoulder injury, let those elbows come down. Feel a little more ease there. Or if it's just too much sensation, that's perfect. Let it go. Take a few deep breaths here. And then nice and slowly begin to press into the hands. Lift yourself back to your tabletop. And we're gonna press down through all 10 fingers and the knees and the top of the feet, and imagine pressing the ground away so the back body can reach up towards the sky. Pull the navel in and begin to stretch the right leg out behind you, toes face down, and lift the heel up so it's in line with the hip. Pull the navel in, keep pressing the ground away. And you could stay here. Perhaps you begin to walk the left hand out to the top of the mat for a little extra challenge, a little stability though. Or flip the whole hand off the mat with the palm facing the center of the body, so that midline. Stretch long from heel to fingers. Press the ground away, pull the belly in, take a big inhale. Now exhale, you could stay here or knee to elbow, round the spine, let them tap underneath you. And inhale, lengthen, reach it long. 2 more times. Exhale, round the spine, let the knee and elbow come towards one another. Inhale, lengthen. 1 more time, exhale. Inhale, reach. And exhale, come back to tabletop. Give yourself a moment. Find that tabletop again. And we'll go straight to the next side. So left leg stretches behind you, toes face down. Start nice and slowly. So lifting up that inner left thigh, hug the right hip in. Press the ground away, pull the navel in. From here, perhaps you begin to walk the right hand out. Maybe then you even float the hand off the mat. Stretch long. Keep the shoulder blades still sliding down the back. Press the ground away. Take an inhale. Stay here. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, reach. Exhale, crunch. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, tabletop. Nice and slowly take the fingertips towards the outside of the mat. And you're going to give yourself a moment to maybe rock a little side to side. So it's like the inside of the wrists are facing one another. And then nice and slowly, if this feels good, you can begin to walk the hands back. So maybe the fingertips come all the way towards the knees or any angle within there. And you can rock maybe forward and back or go around in circles. Just kind of loosening up the wrist, opening up the forearms. And nice and slowly go the other way if you're doing circles or anything asymmetrical. And we'll bring the hands back, facing forward. Bring the big knees, bring the knees together, big toes together. Tuck the toes and begin to sit back onto your heels. Now keep the hands onto the mat for now. but you can walk the hands back closer to the knees. You might need to reach back and try to get that stubborn little pinky toe under as we begin to open up through the arches of the feet. And from here, perhaps you let the top of the hands come to the mat, fingertips facing the knees and palm facing up. We're going to begin to open the back of the wrist. And as you're here, you might even play with creating a fist and then releasing, kind of like you're squeezing a stress ball. Or maybe you want to play with one finger at a time. So pinky to thumb, and then ring to thumb, middle to thumb, index to thumb. And maybe you reverse that direction, and you can go slow or you can go fast. Just create a little movement here, kind of relaxing that back of the hand and into the wrist. All right, nice and slowly, place the palms back onto the mat. And then if it's feeling okay to your feet, you can bring your hands to your thighs, but only if it feels okay. Shoulders relax, head and neck soften, and take a few deep breaths here. One more big inhale. And exhale. All right, hands come down to the mat. Untuck the toes. Tap the top of the feet onto the mat. And then we're going to begin to tuck the toes again. Lift the knees, lift the heels into your downward facing dog. Stretch out the back line of those legs. Now that you're in this inverted position, give yourself a moment to wiggle it out, pedal the feet, take the hips side to side, whatever might feel good here. Make sure you're still spreading wide through the fingers and pressing down through the whole palm, especially the webbing of the index finger and the thumb. Then we'll take 2 more breaths. And then we're going to nice and slowly come back down to the ground, knees down, hands underneath shoulders. And we're going to take a couple cat and cows. So you're going to inhale, lift the chest, lift the tail, slide the shoulders down the back. Exhale, press the ground away, chin comes to chest. So you can do this in a traditional fashion. Keep going with your breath. Fingertips facing forward, toes facing back, or perhaps you want to tuck the toes and bring the fingertips back towards the knees and take your cat and cows. So that's always an option as well. Sometimes it feels really nice to the forearms and to the wrists and the hands, feet. But of course, take whatever option feels better for you today. And 2 more times. Last one, inhale. Exhale. Exhale to your cat pose. Inhale to a neutral spine. And then we'll take another downward dog. Lift the knees, lift the hips. And this time, let's find a little stillness in your down dog. Spread wide to the fingers. Press down through the palm. That little inner crease of the elbow tries to rotate towards the front of the room or to the top of the mat. Bend the knees. And then feel like the tailbone can reach up towards the ceiling. Press the inner thighs back behind you. And from there, let the heels feel heavy. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift the gaze. Slowly begin to walk the feet up to meet the hands. And once you're there, lift up halfway. The hands might come to the shins, head and heart stretch forward, shoulders slide down the back. And exhale, bend the knees and fold. Uttanasana, forward bend. Let the weight keep shifting so it's balanced between the balls of the feet and the heels. So it shifts a little forward. Maybe you hold on to the opposite arms for ragdoll and just sway a little side to side. Shake the head yes or no. Whatever allows you to feel good, nice and relaxed here. Deep breaths. One more inhale. And exhale. Release the hands down. This first one will roll up, bring some flexion in the spine. So ground those feet, bend the knees, tuck the tail, pull the navel in, and begin to stack one vertebra at a time as you roll up, using the core for support. Shoulders round forward, chin stays tucked until you begin to lift the torso up, and then the chin comes parallel to the floor, palms face forward, Sasana Mountain Pose. Take a couple breaths here, just feeling the weight in the feet. Shoulders slide down the back, crown of the head reaches high. Let's lift all 10 toes off the mat and really begin to notice those four corners of the soles of the feet, the inner and outer heels, and then the balls of the feet that can be underneath the big toe. As you press down to those four corners, imagine you pull the four corners towards one another, activating through the arches. And then exhale, just release. And inhale, flip the toes up and pull up through the arches. And then exhale, release. And we'll do that one more time. Inhale, pull up through those arches. And this time on your exhale, try to float each toe down at one at a time, trying to keep the arches lifting. Nice, with the feet nice and grounded, roll those shoulders up, back, and down, and exhale. Come back to your intention. Observe the body and breath. Inhale, reach the arms overhead, nice and high. Exhale, fold over the legs, lead with the heart. Head is heavy at the bottom. Inhale, lift up halfway, hands come to shins, head and heart forward. And then exhale, plant the hands. We'll step back to your plank pose. So remember, your heels can be stacked over the balls of the feet, or the knees can be down, keeping those toes tucked still. Belly pulls in, heel or the tail reaches towards the heels, heart reaches forward, shoulders slide down the back. So let's hold it here for another moment. Press into the ground, hug the belly in. And as you hug the elbows in, we're gonna lower to the ground for a count of 5. So nice and slow and steady for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release, tuck the toes, and 3 rounds of cobra. So hug the elbows in and begin to peel the chest off the mat with your inhale. And then exhale, lower the chest back down. And we'll do 2 more times, so you don't have to lift too high. Keep pressing into the feet, engage the belly, lift the chest. And exhale, lower. One more inhale. And exhale. Tuck the toes, press up to your plank pose, inhale. And exhale, lift the hips up and back, downward facing dog. This time, let's begin to find some stillness. So really press into the feet, lift the hips high, heels heavy. Inhale. Exhale. One more, inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift the gaze to your hands, and we'll gently begin to walk the feet, step the feet, maybe even hop the feet to the top of the mat. Lift up halfway when you're there. Exhale, fold. Stand up, reach up, big inhale. And exhale, the hands to your heart. Soften the shoulders down the back. Take an inhale. And let it go. Inhale, hands lift. Exhale, fold. Moving through another sun salutation, warming up the body. Half lift, hands to shins. Inhale. Exhale, plank pose. This time, build your plank. Feel that nice, strong line of energy from heels to head as you press the ground away. And we're going to take 3 tricep push-ups or chaturanga push-ups. So as you hug those elbows in, you're going to exhale, lower halfway down, keeping the shoulders above the elbows. And then inhale, press the ground away. Exhale, halfway down. Inhale, lift. One more. Inhale. And exhale to the belly. Point the toes back. We'll take a hovering cobra, so press the top of the feet down, pull the navel in towards the spine, float the chest, inhale. Hug those elbows towards the waist, slide the shoulders down the back, and perhaps you even float the hands off the mat. So you can stay here for a few breaths, especially if you're working with any low back injuries where it's uncomfortable today. If you'd like upward dog, you're gonna plant the hands again. Begin to straighten the elbows, press into the top of the feet to lift the knees and the thighs. Hug those shoulders back as you reach the heart between the arms. Take an inhale. And on your exhale, roll over the feet as you step or lift the hips up and back. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let's go 2 more. Last one. Lift the gaze to the top of the mat. Walk, step, or hop the feet. Lift up halfway, inhale. Fold, exhale. Stand up, reach up, big inhale. Exhale, hands to heart. One more sun salutation. Inhale, lift the arms. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, plant the hands, plank pose. This time it's your choice. So you're gonna lower either halfway or all the way to the belly. Lift upward dog or cobra. And then exhale, take your time, make your way back to your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in. And a deep breath out. One more. And exhale. All right, step the feet a little closer together. And we're gonna lift the right foot up and back for 3-leg dog. Stretch the heel out behind you, toes face down, and press firmly into the hands. Now bend the knee, open the hip to the right, but keeping that right shoulder square to the mat. If you're lifting the knee up towards the sky, maybe you begin to roll the ankle, or maybe you wanna roll the whole hip by drawing circles with knee. We'll go one way, and we'll go the other. And then we'll stretch it back out for our 3-leg dog. Inhale. You can stay here or exhale, bring the knee toward the nose, round the spine forward to a plank pose. And then inhale, extend, 3-leg dog. Exhale, hug it in, knee to nose. Inhale, lift. One more, exhale. 3-leg dog, inhale. And this time, step the foot all the way between the hands. If you need to use your right hand to help it get there, do so. You want that right heel to rest underneath the right knee. And then lower the left knee down. Untuck the toes. And imagine pulling both feet towards one another. So you're beginning to feel the pelvic floor, the hips engage. And then inhale, lift the chest, lift the arms overhead. Pull up from the low belly. The tailbone reaches down. And then exhale, begin to lean the hips a little towards that right front heel. You're going to take your right hand and hold on to your left wrist. Inhale, lift it nice and tall. And then exhale, you're going to begin to lean over towards the right. So you're getting a little side body stretch. Inhale. And exhale. One more. And let it go. Inhale, lift the hands back upright. And then exhale, bring your hands down to the ground. And toe heel that right foot to the right edge of the mat. Let the hands come inside the right foot. If your wrists are beginning to bother you, you can come onto your fist, like I like to call them like a gorilla hand, so that there's no flexion or extension in the wrist. And just let the hips sink here, heart lifts, shoulders slide down the back, a little dragon pose. Close the eyes if it's comfortable with you, and then come back to your intention. Perhaps you just stay connected with the feelings that arise, the breath moving through the body. Try to let go of any gripping in the hips or the thighs. And make sure the tension isn't lifting towards the head, the neck, and the jaw. Two more breaths here. How can you still find softness when the intensity rises? nice and slowly, begin to press into the right foot. So you can bring the fingertips back to the outside, or the right fingertips outside the right foot, and toe heel the right foot back to center. We're gonna take a half split. So bring that left knee over the left hip, lift the right toes off the mat. Now I like to keep my knee kind of bent here and really get that neutral pelvis by sticking the tailbone out, lengthening my low back. Heart reaches forward, shoulders slide down the back, and then check in on your foot. Oftentimes the pinky toe either goes further away than the big toe or closer to the body than the big toe. See if you could try to balance that out. So it's like you're pressing the foot against a wall. And then from here, maybe you begin to fold a little over the leg. Chin comes to chest. You can use blocks or support underneath the hands here. And as you're folding, just look back at your left hip and make sure it's not jutting too far out to the left. You're still hugging it back in so it's stacking over the left knee. Couple breaths. One more. And then nice and slowly, begin to lift the heart up, bend the right knee, place the right foot flat down, hands move forward underneath the shoulders, tuck the left toes, lift the left knee, and step that right foot up to three-leg dog, nice and high. Inhale, and then exhale, downward dog. Let the foot come down to the mat. Give yourself a moment in your down dog, and we're gonna go to the next side. So when you're ready, inhale, lift that left foot up, toes face down. Stretch it long, and then bend the knee, open the hip. Perhaps you take your ankle rolls, or maybe you want to take rolls to the hip, circling that knee. Go one way, and then the other. And then we'll stretch it back out, three-leg dog. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, knee to nose, round it forward, pull that navel in, and lift it up and back. 2 more times. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale. Last one, step it all the way forward. Remember, you can help your foot get there if it needs to. Left ankle underneath the knee, right knee comes down, untuck the toes. Imagine pulling the feet towards one another. Anjaneyasana, lift the chest, lift the arms. Let those hips sink a little, pulling the navel in. And this time you're gonna take your right hand to your left wrist. Lift up nice and tall, inhale, and then lean over towards the left. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more inhale. And exhale. Inhale, lift it nice and tall. And then exhale, bring the hands down to the ground. You're gonna toe heel the foot to the outside of the mat, hands come inside for your little dragon pose. Hips sink in between the legs. Come up onto your wrist for support if you have a prop. Shoulders slide down the back, hips are heavy. Take a few breaths. Quieting the mind by staying present with the moment. If any thoughts begin to float into the head, imagine just like clouds in a windy sky, they can begin to just continue to float on by. Make sure you're not clenching the jaw, the brow. There's a softness in the shoulders. And then we'll nice and slowly use the hands to lift the hips out of it a little bit. Bring that left foot back into center. And we'll stretch out that left leg, pulling the hips back over the right knee, and float the left toes off the mat. So they're up towards the sky. Remember, take a look between the big toe and the pinky toe. Bend the knee as much as you want so you really stick the tailbone out, reach the heart forward, take an inhale. And then exhale, fold over the leg as much as you choose. And keep in mind, show yourself some compassion. This side might look completely different than the other, and that is natural. Remember, it's about feeling into the moment, feeling into the sensations of the body. breaths here. Make sure that right hip isn't jutting too far out to the right. Last one. Okay, lift the gaze. You're gonna lift the body, bend that left knee, lean forward. As your hands come back underneath the shoulders, tuck the right toes, lift the right knee, and step to the top of the mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale to fold. And then we'll stand up, reach up, big inhale. And exhale the hands to your heart. All right, we're gonna take a little balance. So bring your hands to your hips, nothing too crazy. All turns to face you. You're gonna place your weight into your right foot and really press into the right heel so you can lift up out of that right hip. And you're lifting up so much that that left foot just becomes light. And then you're gonna reach that left leg out to the left. Pull the navel in, keep the tailbone reaching down towards the heels. And then maybe you wanna stretch the arms out. Maybe begin to lean just a little bit more, lifting that left foot up a little bit more to the left. Keep pulling the navel in, shoulder blades tuck back towards one another. We'll hold it for 3. Keep breathing. 2. And 1, hands to hips. And then the foot comes back down. Nice job. Shift your weight around a moment. And then you're gonna let the weight shift to your left foot. Press down firmly, stand up tall. So tall that the right foot can just begin to hover. Pull that navel in, tailbone reaches down, and then feel the right foot moving out to the side. Nice. And enjoy the wiggles and the wobbles. And then perhaps you want to extend the arms. And perhaps you lean a little more, lift the leg a little higher. Hold it here while you keep breathing for 3, 2, last 1. Bring the hands to your hips, lower the foot. Good job. Wiggle it out if you need to. Fiddle with the closed pose, as one of my instructors always says. All right, come back to the top of the mat, hands down, stand tall and proud for your Tadasana. Take a deep breath in. Let it go. Inhale, reach the arms high. Exhale, fold over the legs. Half lift on the inhale. Exhale, step the left foot back. Oops, you're gonna set up for a lunge here. So keep the left knee lifted, press back through the left heel, right knee over ankle. As you press into that right heel, begin to lift the body up. Maybe the arms even come overhead. Bend that left knee a little so you can pull the belly in, feel the tailbone reach down, neutral pelvis. Bend that right knee so it's really over the ankle. Knit those low ribs in. And then from that strength, you'll press back through that left thigh, press back through that left heel. Now on your exhale, bend the arms so they become like a goalpost or a cactus branch, elbows bend, shoulder blades squeeze together, palms forward. And then inhale, reach the arms back overhead. Now you can keep doing that, exhale, just the elbows, or perhaps you want to also hover the left knee off the ground, and then inhale, lift back up, arms and leg. Exhale, bend the elbows, bend the knee. Inhale, lift. 2 more times. Really press up to lift, really squeeze that left glute, lower, exhale. Last one, inhale, reach it high. Take an exhale here. 1 more, inhale, high lunge. And exhale to warrior 2, chest faces the left, your left heel spirals down and your arms are out wide. So make sure your left toes are facing the left and you have heeled arch alignment. So the right heel lines up with the left arch. Keep bending the right knee, squeeze it open towards the pinkies, shoulder blades slide down the back. Imagine the feet pull in towards one another. Gaze travels out over the right middle fingers. Imagine all the muscles of the arm, the legs, just hugging the bones. Inhale. Exhale. Flip the right palm up. Reverse warrior, right hand reaches overhead, left hand to left thigh. Keep bending into that right knee. Imagine pulling that right heel back towards the left arch. Pull the right shoulder back as you lift the heart. 1 more breath. Let it go. Inhale, warrior 2, lift the body up. Now exhale, you're gonna reach the arm forward, whole body comes forward, bring the forearm to the thigh, reach the left arm overhead so the palm faces down and the bicep is near the ear. Now sink the hips a little, pull that left side rib cage back, and then imagine you can just kind of hover with that right elbow. So you can still rest it there, but just imagine there's this lightness happening. One more breath. Now imagine your whole low body's in cement. You're not gonna move that knee, and you're gonna inhale, warrior two. Take another breath here. Exhale, you got it. Inhale, straighten that right knee. Oh boy. All right, let's reverse triangle, right palm up. Reach it all the way to the back of the room. Left hand comes to left thigh. Now press down into the right big toe. Keep that right quad engaged so you're not hyperextending the front knee. Once again, imagine pulling those feet together. One more breath here. Inhale, lift the body up, arms out long. And now you're gonna reach it forward for triangle pose. So the hips pull back, keep that slight bend, that right knee or that engaged quad. Right hand comes to shin, left arm high. Imagine you're leaning against a wall, hips, shoulders, head in one line, so lean back with chest. Feel length on the underside body just as much as you do on the top side body by really pulling that right hip back. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let the gaze come down. And you're nice and slowly gonna lift back up. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, bend the knee, warrior two. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, cartwheel the hands to frame the front foot. Place that left hand underneath the left shoulder. Make sure you're on the ball of the left foot. And as you inhale, lift the right hand to the sky. So you're twisting the chest to the right. Hug those thighs towards one another and reach this length from heel to head as the shoulders slide away from the ears. Now feel free to stay here, or we're gonna step back to our side plank. So you can do that a multitude of ways. Perhaps you wanna lower the left knee down and just step the right foot back. That is a perfect option as well. And once you're back, you can even try to lengthen through that left leg, scissoring the feet. You could stack the feet, keeping that right hip rolling forward, or perhaps you can float that right foot up off the left. Any option is perfect. Just keep pulling the belly in, feeling length from heels to head. We'll take one more breath. Inhale. And exhale. Nice and slowly, let the right hand come down. Move through your vinyasa or skip it and go to downward dog. Your option, it's always a choice. Deep breaths. Move with the breath. And then we'll all meet in our downward dog. Allowing the body to rest, the mind to calm. One more inhale and exhale. Now lift the gaze to your hands, walk, step, or hop the feet to the top of the mat. Lift up halfway, hands to shins. Exhale, fold. And we'll stand up, reach up, big inhale. Right away, just fold over the legs, exhale. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, right foot goes back this time. Stay on the ball of the foot, left knee over ankle, squeeze those thighs towards one another, high lunge, press into the left heel to lift the body, lift the arms. Soft bend in the right knee, find that neutral pelvis, knit those lowers in, and then stay strong, pressing back through that right leg. Inhale. Exhale, bend the elbows, goalpost arms, tuck the shoulder blades together. Inhale, reach the arms up. Keep going with just the arms, or maybe you add the leg. Exhale, bend the elbows, bend the knee. Inhale, stretch it up, really press into the ground. Exhale, bend. Inhale, lift. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, stay here, high lunge, take an exhale. 1 more inhale. Exhale to warrior two to the right. So your right heel spirals down, chest faces the right, arms out wide. Take a look at your foundation. You've got that heel to arch alignment. Left knee bends over the ankle, squeeze it open towards the pinky. Press down through the pinky toe edge of the right foot and imagine pulling the feet together. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Let's reverse it. Left palm up. Reach it all the way overhead. Right hand, right thigh. Keep bending into that left knee and imagine the right thigh lifting up to the hand as the heart reaches to the sky. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift up. Warrior two. Exhale, reach it forward, reach it forward, reach it forward. If you can't reach any forward, bring the forearm to the thigh, right arm overhead, bicep towards the ear. Sink those hips. You're in this long line from heel to fingertips. Right side rib cage rolls back as you sink those hips, but stay strong. Press into that left heel to lift up out of that left shoulder. One more inhale. Exhale. Okay, those legs stay in cement. Press down firmly through the feet. Inhale, just lift the body up. Exhale, warrior two. You know where we're going. Inhale, now straighten the knee. All right. Imagine pulling those feet together. Let's reverse it. Left palm up, right hand to right thigh. Remember, keep that left quad engaged. So if you keep that top muscle nice and firm, it helps you so you don't hyperextend that front knee. Take one more breath here. And let it go. Inhale, stand up. Now exhale, reach it forward, Trikonasana, triangle pose. When you can't go any more forward, try to keep that whole length on that underside body as you bring the hand down and just lift the right hand up. You're really pulling the hips back here. So keeping those muscles hugging the bones. Right rib cage rolls back. Take a deep breath in. Exhale, maybe the gaze comes back down to the floor. And then inhale, stand up. And exhale, bend the knee, warrior two. Take a deep breath here. Exhale, hands come down to frame the front foot. You're on the ball of the right foot. Right hand underneath the right shoulder. Inhale, left hand to the sky. Hug those thighs together, length from heel to head. Take a big inhale. Exhale, maybe you twist just a smidge more. Now take it back for your side plank, whichever option you want. You can use any variation. You can use whatever support you need to get there. You can bring your hands down. You can come through tabletop. Just feel this length from the tail to the head. Try to lift those hips. Pull the left hip forward. Take one more breath. Exhale, left hand down. Move through your vinyasa if you want. Take child's pose or down dog if you want. All the options are yours. One thing that's really great about yoga is it doesn't really matter if you do one the other side, right? You can allow yourself just to listen into your body so much. You become so aware of what it's asking for. And you can sit down right now and just finish listening to the rest of the class. You don't even have to finish doing it. But if you would like to finish or keep going with this next little journey, you're going to go ahead and join me. So take another breath and let it go. Lift the gaze to the top of the mat and make your way all the way there. Lift up halfway, hands to shins, head and heart forward. Exhale, fold. And then inhale, stand up, reach up, arms overhead. And exhale, hands to heart. So bring the feet together, squeeze the thighs together. Feel the tailbone reaching towards the heels as you pull the navel in, reach the heart up towards the thumbs. And then exhale like you're sitting into a chair, Utkatasana, fierce pose. You're gonna bend the knees, send the seat low. So if you look down to your toes, you should be able to see them because the weight is in the heels, so the knees are behind the toes. Pull that navel in, feel length from tail to head, take an inhale. Now exhale, take your left elbow and bring it towards the right knee or right thigh. Exhale. Now inhale, come back to center. And exhale, take that right elbow to the left. And you're gonna keep going with each breath. You're gonna keep twisting. Keep that weight in the heels, keep squeezing those thighs together, and try to keep the thumbs at the breastbone. So you're really using the obliques to create twist here, the side waist, as opposed to using the shoulders just to twist the arms around. So we're gonna do it 3 more times on each side. You got it. There is an end in sight. 2 more times. Last one. And we'll come back to center, lift the arms high, take a big inhale, and then exhale, fold over the legs. Lift up halfway, Exhale, step the left foot back. Stand up, reach up, big inhale, high lunge. And then exhale, bring the hands back like wings. Heart reaches forward, press back through the left heel, hug the right hip in. So you're in this power stance, right knee over ankle. Feel that left thigh be nice and active, like you're trying to lighten the leg by using it so much. Shoulder blades tucked together. All right, so stay here in this power lunge. I know you like it as you press into that right heel. The right hip might begin to talk to you. Otherwise, maybe you'd like to take your warrior 3, press into that right foot, straighten the right knee, lift the left foot off the mat. Tuck the shoulder blades together, pull the navel towards the spine. Stay here as you try to lift that left foot high, or maybe you want to take a few squats. Bend the right knee, lower the body. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, inhale. One more. All right, wherever you are, we're gonna stand up into one leg mountain, lift the chest, bring the left knee in line with the hip, arms overhead, big inhale. Exhale, hands and foot down, Dasana. Woo. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. All right, bring those feet together. Squeeze those thighs together. Inhale, arms up this time. Exhale, chair pose, sit low. Take another inhale, weight in the heels. Now exhale, bring the hands back behind you. Let the palms face one another so the pinkies are facing away from the body. And imagine you're squeezing like a big rubber ball here. So you're creating some energy in those arms. And you're gonna pulse the pinkies back an inch and then let that go. And then you're gonna pulse it back an inch, let it go. Keep squeezing those thighs together. We'll go 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift the arms up overhead. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, step the right foot back. High lunge, left knee over ankle. Hug those thighs together. Inhale, stand up, arms overhead. Exhale, power stance, hands back like wings. Really try to use those triceps, pull those shoulder blades towards one another to create the action here. Pull those thighs together, hug the left hip in as you press into that left heel. Press back through the right heel, right inner thigh spirals behind you. Take another breath. Stay here, or begin to straighten the left knee, lift the right foot off the mat. Keep pressing firmly through that right heel. The stronger that leg is, the more action you put through it, the lighter it feels. Hit the belly in, imagine the whole body reaching up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale. Maybe you want to take a squat, exhale. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, bend. Inhale. One more, exhale. Nice and big, inhale. Now we'll stand up, bring that knee in line with the hip, arms overhead. Exhale, Tadasana, mountain pose. All right, we made it. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, fold. Let's take ragdoll here, letting the whole body just soften, let go. You can even take the feet nice and wide for this one. Bringing the feet as wide as the mat, toes out at a 45-degree angle, bending the knees, letting the body just drape in between the legs here. Allowing the nervous system to begin to calm with the head below the heart. Try to fill the belly deep with breath. Slow it down. Release the hands. Fingertips to the mat, lift up halfway, even though the feet are wide. If you didn't widen the feet, let's go ahead and do so now. So the feet are wider than the hips, big toes out to a 45-degree angle, and then begin to bend the knees and sit low for a yogi squat. So your yogi squat, you can let the hips low, or you can stay lifted based on if you're working with any knee injuries. Hands come to your heart, feel lengthen the spine. Take a few deep belly breaths here. Great for your digestion. Two more breaths. Last one. All right, bring the hands back behind you. Come into a seat. Stretch the legs all the way out in front of you. Bring the toes back towards you, sit up nice and tall, roll those inner thighs down, take an inhale. And then exhale, begin to fold over the legs. So allow yourself to kind of get a little closer to the body, quieting the mind. Connecting a little deeper with breath. And nice and slowly begin to lift up out of the fold. You're going to bend the knees, place the feet on the floor, let the knees open out nice and wide. So you're in this butterfly pose, soles of feet come together, knees out wide. Your feet can be close to the groin or far away from the groin. You're going to hold on to your shins and sit up nice and tall. Take a big inhale. And then exhale, you're going to fold over the legs. This can be a little fold, this can be a big fold. Try to let go of any gripping in those inner thighs, those inner hips. And if you're holding onto your feet, just make sure you're not pulling the pinky toes off the mat. So the little pinky toes and that side of the knife side of the foot stay grounded here. Okay, inhale, begin to lift body back up. Scoop the knees. You're going to cross the ankles and you're going to step back to downward dog. Plant the hands, step back. If you'd like to take one more vinyasa here, you can feel free to move through your flow. That's up to you. You can just take a couple breaths in downward dog. So our next step is pigeon pose. So we'll all meet in our downward dog, and then we'll begin to lift that right foot up nice and long, 3-leg dog. And then exhale, you're going to hug that foot forward, bringing the knee towards the right wrist, ankle towards the left wrist. Flex the right foot so the toes come back or pull back towards the shin. Step that left knee back, and before you fold, sit up tall. Imagine hugging the right knee and the left knee toward one another. So that'll help stabilize the pelvis. Take a big inhale. And try to keep that neutrality in the pelvis. Begin to lower. And once your hands or your forearms come down to the mat, then allow yourself to let the hips soften here. Try to relax any gripping. Make sure you don't clench the jaw. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. And come back to a place that you can connect with the breath. Find a little calm, find a little ease as you just succumb to the moment. Stay connected with the breath. Try to soften into the pose just a little bit more. All right, and then nice and slowly on your next inhale, begin to lift back up to your hands if you lowered. You'll tuck the left toes, lift the left knee, and step back to a 3-leg dog, right foot high. Take any movement that feels good, and then lower it back down for downward dog. And after we all meet in downward dog, we'll move to the next side. So then you'll lift that right foot or left foot up, stretch it nice and long, and then exhale, pull the left knee towards the left wrist, ankle towards the right wrist. Remember, before you lower, as you untuck the right toe, step that right knee back, and then imagine pulling the knees together as you lift the body high. So you're finding that stability in the pelvis, and then from that, you can begin to lower down. Once you lower to your forearms, let go of any effort in the hips and the thighs. Try to relax the shoulders, the neck, the brow. In the words of Andrew Harvey, surrender is deeply misunderstood as an act of weakness. Surrender is the bravest and most lucid thing a human ever does, and that's why it is so precious. How can you allow yourself to be brave for the moments that you need it? For the moments you need to be filled with the air of receptivity, abandoning old ways, and trusting in the universe. Oh, nice and slowly begin to bring hands back to the mat. Lift the body. Tuck the right toes, lift the right knee. Make your way back to your downward dog. Take any movements that you want. And you'll bring your knees to the mat. Send the feet to one side so you can bring the feet down to the other. And bring the feet all the way back out in front of you. But keep the knees bent and the feet on the floor. Scoot towards the top of your mat so there's plenty of space behind you to lay down. Hold on to the back of the thighs and sit up nice and tall. Keep the feet grounded. And perhaps you want to hold on to the thighs, or maybe you want to reach your arms out in front of you, palms up. Shoulders slide down the back. Lean back to begin to feel that core turn on. Pull the navel in, round the chin towards the chest, look down to the navel. And then we'll begin to roll down one vertebra at a time, nice and slow, nice and steady, trying to keep those feet grounded. Once you're all the way down, reach the arms overhead, feet out in front. And then exhale, pull the knees into your chest. We're going to open the arms out like a cactus or a T. And keeping those thighs as close to your belly as you can, you're going to lower the knees all the way down to the right. So the knees kind of stack. You can slide that right shoulder out from underneath you a little bit. Left shoulder is heavy to the ground as you look towards the left. Take a big breath and imagine that this is a way of just wringing out the body, anything that is no longer serving you, making space for all that you desire. And we'll lift the head back up to center. Nice and slowly lift the knees back to center. Maybe go one at a time. And if you need to put the feet down, make sure that the hips, the shoulders are in a line, and then bring those thighs back into the chest. From here, those arms are open out nice and big, and we'll turn the knees all the way towards the left. Let the legs completely relax. Right shoulder is heavy. The gaze can go over to the right. A few deep breaths here. Try to feel a release in the ribs and shoulders. This pose is a great way to reset the spine after a long day of sitting or standing. It's a great thing to do before bed. I really like to do it upon waking to help just loosen up the back. One more inhale and exhale. Gaze comes back to center. Lift the knees back to center. And we'll hug it into the tightest little ball you can imagine. Scrunch up the feet, scrunch up the hands, chin is chest. Even scrunch up the face and exhale. And inhale, open all the way out to your final resting pose. If you need to slide your socks on, place a blanket over your belly, whatever you need to do, allow yourself to begin to settle for just 2 minutes of rest so that you can begin to let the nervous system completely, entirely let go.
thought I saw smoke run down and color the sea, discreet difference in the movement now. I'm falling asleep, my head heavy with the
And begin
ocean
to allow the
sound.
breath to deepen, bringing awareness to the body and mind,
Can't help cooling out.
inviting movement to the fingers and toes, rolling wrists and ankles. Take a big stretch, reach the arms behind you and feet out in front. And slowly and mindfully, when you're ready, begin to roll to one side. Pause there for a moment to take a few breaths. And from there, you can begin to lift your way up to a seat, stacking the spine, shoulders over hips, head over shoulders. The hands rest on the thighs, in the lap, or perhaps at your heart center in Anjali Mudra, a symbol of offering. You showed up and you made it today. You offer yourself a bit of gratitude, a bit of thanks. Thank the body for all the hard work it was able to do, and show compassion for all of the bits that it was hard and difficult to do. Give yourself a moment to offer a kind word to yourself. May we all approach ourselves with a little more compassion and approach life with a little more surrender. Take 3 cleansing breaths. Inhale through the nose. HA, side out through the mouth. Inhale through the nose. HM, hum it out. Inhale through the nose. We'll flutter those lips. And we bow together. Namaste. Thank you so much for practicing. As always, it's lovely to guide you. We'll see you next week.